17, yeah. Remy boy, 17, yeah. Oh, hold on, great. Y'all don't know about that, man. If you don't know about that, Remy boy, 1738. You don't know about no Fetty Wap. You don't know about no Fetty Wap. You might be too young to fuck with me. You don't know about no Fetty Wap. If you don't know who Fetty Wap is, you are too young. I do not want to talk to you. You dig that? I'm fun up. But let's go ahead and get straight into the video. You dig what I'm saying? We got some hood stories. You see me hood war stories, clearly. Let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Let's see what's going on. I'm fun out.
Welcome to Hood War Stories. In this episode, I'll be discussing the life of Infant Nightmare. Dante Kennedy was born on December 29th, 1998, in Los Angeles, California.
Right.
He attended Hillcrest Elementary School. He was raised in the Baldwin Village neighborhood of Los Angeles, infamously known as the Jungles, or the Jays, an urban fortress composed of high-density apartments and tropical vegetation.
Right.
The Jungles are still unsafe today.
Hell yeah.
But in the early 2000s, it was on another level. Those were the training day days. Guys 20 deep in red on every block, monitoring every car that goes in and out. For a while, it was a no-go zone, as you would enter at your own risk. Young black kids growing up in this type of setting more than likely get swallowed into the Black P Stones, the gang that has its area on deadlock. This neighborhood is so deep and active that you basically are a member by living there. BPS recruits
and it's crazy because a lot of people don't understand that, but depending on where you live at, bro, you could be born on a block and never be a part of that gang shit, but niggas is gonna never try to be a part of the gang shit, but niggas just gonna make you a part of that because that's what's going on. Like, sometimes there is ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. There's no way around this street shit sometimes, dog. Either you with it or you finna get rolled. Either you finna get down or you finna lay down. You dig what I'm saying? So, it's like, it's hard, especially in places like LA, Chicago, Atlanta. Once you from that neighborhood, you go outside, you kicking it with the guys, like, you gonna end up kind of doing some street shit.
But the actual put-on process is not easy and is selective. Nightmare would join BPS in his early teen years. Infant Nightmare made it a point to be a standout member from jump. He was considered a part of the 10% of gang members who are really active in the field. These are the real line pushers, patrolling the neighborhood and banging on people. Nightmare was always known to carry a gun. He primarily focused on the top shooters from rival gangs and prioritized knocking them off. By the time he was 17, he gained high status and rank within BPS. His earned rank was a combination of factors. Nightmare was super solid and very respected, and was very ambitious to get money.
Right.
He had a good record with the hands and was always down to fight. Alleged bodies and numerous attempts propelled his reputation as one of the top young shooters in South Central. Nightmare was down to kill and do life in prison or die himself in the process. After the Rolling 40s and the Harlem 30s, Nightmare hated 18th Street the most. BPS and 18th Street's war goes back decades. In the mid-90s, a few 18th Streeters lived in the Jungles off Ursula Avenue in one apartment. They tried to set up shop and sling drugs on that block. BPS told them it was a no-go. When the Ursula clique continued to sales when things got hectic. After Ursula got pressed, the Rancho clique and some other gunners from other cliques responded with gunfire. BPS responded with full court pressure, shooting up Ursula Ave every day. Shootouts would occur from out the window onto the street.
And that's why people be trying to be like, I ain't scared of nobody. I step on anybody. I whoop. You can't step on everybody. Some people are just smart not to go to war with. Now, I'm not saying be a hoe. But at the end of the day, bro, if you know that these niggas is some real, like, they active, they outside, they deep as hell, they really be about that shit, and you know they got 50, 60 strong, and you only got 20 strong, 15, 30 strong, it might not be best to go ahead and get into it with these niggas. Let's avoid these niggas. I ain't saying let's go get slimed out or be a hoe. But let's avoid these people. You feel me?
From apartment to apartment in the Jungles,
that's all I'm trying to say.
It was so much heat their Ursula clique had to vacate the Jays and stay in the Rancho Park clique's hood. The Rancho Park clique were firing back on Ursula's behalf. Even black kids walking to Dorsey High School were getting shot.
Damn.
Most of the Ursula locals were wound up getting absorbed into the Alcest clique. And that's who's been in the thick of it with BPS, along with the Smiley Drive clique. Nightmare was known for bouncing out, pop out, and shoot you type. But he also had a sneaky side. On one hot night, Nightmare ventured into 18th Street's turf. There, he spotted 3 18th Streeters outside on the street talking. Nightmare allegedly got out on foot, crept up from behind, and domed the 18th Streeter. 2 additional shots were fired, but they both missed the other targets. Nightmare gathered himself and fled off into the night. The sneak attack was allegedly one of his first bodies, and the 18th Streeters got a clear view of his face. After that murder, Nightmare briefly shifted his focus to another enemy that was in close proximity, the West Boulevard Crips. Allegedly, there was some back and forth dialogue being exchanged on social media. Threats like "you know what it is when I see you" were being sent. And it didn't take long. Nightmare allegedly spots him near the intersection of Crenshaw and Adams. These cross streets is a point of conflict, as multiple gangs lurk near these borders and often are bound to run into each other. After spotting him, Nightmare allegedly chased his victim down in the streets and completed his mission.
Damn.
There's no one Nightmare hated more than the Rolling 40s. In fact, this has been BPS's top enemy for more than a decade, especially among the younger generation. Nightmare labeled himself Mr. 40K, and he earned that title, shooting up the 40s on a weekly basis, from the avenues to Parkside, but especially the dark side were all getting lit up. Nightmare was putting in a ton of work and was becoming a true nightmare in the streets. His name rang bells, and his gunplay put everyone on notice. He was an active shooter and had no intention on slowing down. As Nightmare rose to one of the top doubters in the city, he began to prioritize killing other top shooters from rival hoods. Africa, also known as Tiny J Stone, was an extremely active, high-ranking member from the 89 East Coast Crips. Fast forward to July 29th, 2018, at 12:40 a.m. Africa is hanging out with Rolling 40 members near 43rd of Vermont. Nightmare and other BPS members all saw it that night, driving around looking for a 40 Crip to kill. They end up pulling up to 43rd of Vermont and find just what they were looking for.
It's so crazy though, because LA is set up like, first of all, I ain't saying the hood of LA is nice. Because honestly, I've never been to the hood of LA. Like, I might have rolled past on a late night, one time when I visited LA while back, you feel me? Just to see what it was looking like. But first of all, I was speeding. Second of all, I had a blip. Third of all, it be looking nice, like, not nice, but like, you will go on the block, it's palm trees, nigga. It's palm trees, and like, yeah, it's the projects and shit, but it's nice weather, palm trees, like people kicking it, smoking weed, like, they make it like not cool to want to be on the block out there, but it's like it don't seem as bad because it look nice out here. Like compared to Florida hoods is the Jets, the real Jets. Now this is a little different. You know what I mean? It's a little different also.
Africa and a few Rolling 40 Crip members. That's a 2-for-1 special in Nightmare's eyes. Nightmare then jumps out and specifically tries to kill Africa first. He lets off numerous shots, and bullets start flying. But instead of hitting Africa, a 40 Crip named Tiny Hardhead got hit. 2 others were also shot. Hardhead was pronounced dead in the street at 12:50 a.m.
So is this the same nigga that Crip Mac was talking about? Tiny Hardhead FIP? I'm not trying to disrespect. I'm just asking. You feel me? I don't mean no disrespect.
Nightmare and another gunman ran to 2 separate vehicles, which fled the scene. Tiny Hardhead was a factor in the 40s, and he was known for shooting and pressing the issue.
Hardhead is that trip.
They gon' phone your mic, bro. I ain't even no C nigga, bro. Gon' phone your mic.
He on the phone calling his homies.
I pop that y'all niggas don't do nothing, nigga. I'm voting and I stay shooting y'all niggas. Alright.
It's 4 of y'all though, it's only 3 of them.
Which I need a burner cut. We don't got no burner. Let's get our head up.
They do this around the white people too. And
Originally, when he was killed, there was speculation in the city whether it was the 5 Deuce Hoovers or BPS's work. But as Nightmare got away that night, Africa got a glimpse of his face. Nightmare was wearing a hoodie, and it was dark, but Africa was almost certain it was him. Africa then told the 40s who he thought he saw, and word traveled to the 50s. Tiny Hardhead was deeply connected to the 557s, so both hoods took this loss personally. Retaliation was guaranteed. The Jungles were shot up weekly for almost 2 months. And for good measure, the 557s and 40s also hit up 5 Deuce for a good 2 months also. The results were 3 people dead, but their main prize was still lurking around in the shadows. That's until October 3rd, 2018, shortly after 5 p.m. Nightmare was standing on the sidewalk with a couple brims in their territory. 2 people then walked up and began firing at the group, striking Nightmare and 2 others. Bodies dropped to the ground and everyone tries to flee. Nightmare was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead at 5:51 p.m. Rumors spread that the alleged gunman was a Rolling 40s member and a stud from 50s, and some people were shocked that it was a female shooter involved. Now that the trophy was gone, BPS responded with full force, and the 40s felt major impact in the months that followed. After Nightmare's death, he was super dissed all over social media from various hoods. Rolling 40 members even dropped diss songs mocking his death. That's a clear indication of how much of a problem he was in the streets. The top shooters usually don't last long. The common outcome is either early death or life in prison. BPS is still honoring Nightmare to this day.
He's 100% right, because all this sliding, all this popping, all this opping you doing, you feel what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna end up in a situation, either gonna die or go to jail, bro. Because you can't, there's only so many hits you can go on. And RP Lil Jeff, but that's a prime example of that shit. You up double-digit hat shorty, sliding. At this point, this is like second nature to him. He's sliding. It's like riding a bike, driving a car. Like, he just know what to do. He got it going on. And eventually, you gonna go on the hit. You thought you had him, and then it didn't work out. It's just, you know, sometimes it be like that. Like, every hit ain't gonna be perfect. You can't predict your first hit, your last hit, your middle hit. You might get hit, car might get hit up, driver might get popped. You never know what's gonna happen. You gotta be ready. Niggas ain't thinking about that, man. I have to come with this, like, please get out.